salute to everybody joining in, by the way.
Absolutely.
Why don't we start out, if you don't mind, with you had an interesting topic on here. KOOL Herc.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start it. So, okay. So I'm to me, it's kind of a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So for those that don't already know, right? There's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And let's keep it civil. I know some people are going to be like, well, fuck the rock and roll. This is hip hop, but let's talk about it. So if you guys don't already know, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees were released. The list was released, or whatever the case may be. I'm only talking about one person. The person that is being inducted this time around is KOOL DJ Herc. So, and I'll give you my intake on that, right? So it's cool, right? The fact that I get it, Run DMC, your Public Enemies, your NWAs, I get it, rock and roll, music, right? And up to maybe a couple of years ago, I would have done the same thing where it's like, all right, everybody gets their flowers, right? All these rappers, all these DJs get their flowers, but where are the flowers for a KOOL DJ Herc? And whether you believe these are flowers or not, they're acknowledging KOOL Herc. Let's put it into perspective. Just the fact they're acknowledging and inducting KOOL Herc to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I applaud that. That's dope. There's something in me, and I might be looking too much into it. There's something in me that is kind of like too little, too late. Do I even give a fuck? Conveniently on the so-called 50th birthday of hip hop, like there's something not sitting right with me. It's dope. They're acknowledging it. And at the same time, again, there's people gonna be like, well, we don't need the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We don't need the Grammys to acknowledge hip hop is from the streets. And I get that. But what do we feel about that? Did you even look at it that way? Am I thinking too much into it?
First, pin my comment real quick so people can about. I'm kind of like you. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is weird to me. It's in Cleveland, and I spent a lot of time in Cleveland. I was there when it opened, and they had a hip hop exhibit, and you could go and like they had some fake turntables you could scratch on, and it was like a timeline, visual timeline with artifacts and things like that. I don't know if they still have a hip hop section there, but I always thought it was weird that it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it never made sense to me. Like, and I get it. Ultimately, rock and roll is black music. I mean, ultimately, when you go take it way back, but I don't know. I always thought that was just weird in the beginning, just off the rip. So just put that out there. As far as KOOL Herc goes, I'm kind of like you, man. You know what I mean? I think it's definitely weird that it's in this 50th anniversary of hip hop thing that you decided to do it now. That's kind of goofy to me. I think I'm not on the thing of like we don't need the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, I kind of feel that way, but at the same time, all right, it's cool that he's recognized and stuff like that. But we've talked numerous times about like just these not milestones, but these 50th anniversary founder of hip hop. Like, I don't know, like, I mean, we already know what it is as far as like discrepancies there and stuff with certain things. So I haven't really given him much thought. I mean, I respect KOOL Herc for what he's done for the culture, and I'm glad he's still around, just to be able to get the respect that he deserves. But it's not really something that like I get hyped about. I don't get hyped about it. I'm not even hyped about the 50th anniversary. People are asking me all this shit.
Yeah.
Telling me, saying all this shit to me, and pages popping up and events popping up and about I don't know. Like, first of all, I don't know. It doesn't really excite me like that, man, because we know that there's like that it was probably going on well before 50 years ago, and so it's cool. It's straight. I'm not gonna sit here. I mean, 5 years ago, even I would have just like been like, fuck this, fuck that, posted on it and shit. It's cool. you know, it doesn't move me like that. And I think I have the same opinion as you. That you know, it's like, all right, you know, I mean, I'm just like, all right, that's the best thing I got is all right, you know, and it is definitely kind of weird that it's this year.
And I thought about that too, right? Because again, I want to make sure we understand that, you know, it did do a little something to me to see Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, seeing KOOL Herc's name. Yeah, obviously there was a small kind of like all right, one of these, right? But then I'm like, yo, wait, on the motherfucking so-called 50th anniversary, like then I started feeling some kind of way. And again, we don't need a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We don't need, you know, to me personally, I'll say this. So, Dave Paul, Bomb Hip Hop Records from up north, Northern Cali, posted something today. I might have been on his Instagram, but I saw it on Facebook. And he says something, he's like, okay, I get this whole 50th anniversary. And he kind of put a question mark. And then he said, but are any of these so-called 50th anniversary events bringing KOOL Herc out? Like, to me, I'd rather see cats like KOOL Herc, Theodore, you know, your DXT, like these Flash, and that Flash is kind of out there, I think. But these stepstone pioneers getting put on these bills, getting put on these flyers, on these events. I don't care if you're just showing up to say what up. It's just bring these people out. I'd rather see that than a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I'm not trying to dumb down. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame does its own thing, and that's its own, you know, whatever. But yeah, man, I don't want it to sound like, yo, I'm bitter about it, and I don't want people to be like, well, you don't care. No, I care. It's just, would it be different if it was like last year and it wasn't the 50th anniversary? I don't know. I kind of put that in my mind earlier, and I'm like, I kind of would have been still the same, you know. But again, like I said earlier, I've said that before. Like, where are the flowers for KOOL Herc? Where are the flowers for Theodore? Where are the flowers for this? You know, I don't know.
It cheapens it for me. That's all. It feels cheap a little. It feels a little cheap. It's not to cheapen KOOL Herc, but it feels. It's like, you know, I keep it a buck. It's like, I mean, ruffle some feathers. It's like affirmative action for me. Like, or it's like the Rooney Rule in the NFL that they have to interview so many candidates of color. I don't like token shit. I don't like token victories and token shit. And to me, it's a token thing. It's like, all right, we get 50th anniversary. It's a good look. Everybody's inclusive. Because now we're including everybody. You know, like, what's really real now? You know, we used to have some standards back in the day, and it's like, now, okay. Like, so it would have had more juice if it was done 10 years ago to me, because he deserved it 10 years ago. He deserved it 15 years ago. So now we do it. So it's cool for him. I think it's, you know, straight, but it does cheapen it some to me. And that's how I look at it. Like, it's just kind of like, it's a token. To me, it's a token victory, and that's not real to me. Yeah, that's nothing tangible, and I don't really, you know, that's the thing. I don't really fuck with token victories. So, you know.
I've also, okay, so you guys don't know. I know you probably looking at the spreadsheet. So we have our topics, and I failed to come up with a few of them for X amount of reasons: wisdom teeth, work, whatever. So I'm gonna be a little more long-winded with this topic. But again, yeah, right. When it comes down, there's a lot of little factors that kind of are kind of pushing me to that point, which brought this topic up. So one, again, and I'm going to say the fact that hip hop is not 50 years old, right? Again, certain elements predate that. So that alone is, I'm already like, all right, 50-year anniversary, not really. And we're already starting wrong there in my eyes. So in terms of flowers, if we're going to talk about flowers for stepstone icons, stepstone contributors and pioneers, what would be a way that you think would be, okay, this is not a token victory, this is not a, This is not a just they throw you a bone on said anniversary. Like you said, if it was 10 years ago, would have been better, or because I asked this, these renaming of streets, these National Hip Hop Museum events, and little awards or whatever. I see people, it's 50-50, right? I see people like, yo, that's dope. And other people are like, well, that's not really, we just came out of nowhere with that award. We really want a Grammy, this, that, a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So there's a lot of friction amongst hip hop heads.
Well, they say they want a Grammy?
Well, no, what I'm saying is, like, let's say I'm the opposite of what I'm saying. So if I'm saying, well, I want someone to get a Grammy, I want someone to get a higher recognition. I reference a Grammy in terms of status of appreciation, acknowledgement. Yeah, so that kind of acknowledgement. So again, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and a star on the Walk of Fame, shit like that, right? You have a lot of friction amongst historians and preservers of the culture and just hip hop heads. So it's like, it's either you get pulled one way, you get pulled the other. Which one are we going to be content with? Are we going to be content ever?
I'm only content when shit happens when it's supposed to happen. Meaning that when the recognition is given when it was when the shit happened, like or like, not later after the fact, and it's like, oh, we trying to include somebody that we forgot. And that's what a lot of shit feels like when it comes to recognizing hip hop. If the Grammys recognized hip hop as a legitimate rap music, as a legitimate music form way back in the day, I wouldn't be saying shit, because it'd be like, okay, you get it. You know what I'm saying? If the corporate entities and all these various whatevers recognized hip hop from the jump and for what it was and what it is, and were true to it and paid people properly and didn't shit on it, and then I'd be cool. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's two things. One, it's about doing it at the right time when it's supposed to fucking happen, not on some token shit. And but that never really happens, right? With the big corporate. Okay, so we know that's not gonna happen. So then the next thing you said, what I would do, I would, like, to me, and I've heard athletes say it a lot, and I feel this way. The biggest form of respect really comes from your peers. And I feel like, again, Brother Jay and I talk about this a lot, ownership in hip hop. So I like what the National Hip Hop Museum's doing. I like that we're doing our own shit. Finally, it's about time we got a National Hip Hop, that we got some museums. So I think it's great, and I think we should continue to do our own shit and recognize our own. And if fuck everything else, you know what I mean? Fuck the other, if it pops off on a bigger scale, then all right, whatever, let's look at that. But like, we should just do our own shit. That's always just.
I love that. I love that. And you're right. Shit. You're right. We talked about it with Profo and them, right? But the whole, and again, this is where I won't get into detail, but there's like, well, yeah, this is dope, but they're not doing enough. And then we start getting into this, as opposed to like, well, this is coming from us. But you're right. I'm the same way. Like, if it's not, if it's coming from us, I would feel like, if I'm a KOOL Herc, or let's just put it this way, I know I'm a pioneer of something, and I'm going to humble myself, but I know I'm a pioneer of something. To me, it would be worth that much more coming from that said platform than, lack of a better term, than an outsider, than something that was down with us since the beginning. So something that was clowning us, something that was saying like, that's not it. You know what I mean?
Let's say the Source magazine was still dope, right?
The what?
The Source magazine.
Source magazine. Okay.
It was still dope, like dope. We still had the Source Awards, like, and they grew over the years with hip hop, and they grew organically, and we got people like, they're looking at best new artists, and you're looking at the Great, and you're looking at XP and whoever, right? Let's say the Source grew, we'd have the Source Awards still, or something like that, we because the Source was there, you know what I mean, like, or magazine, or even before Complex was bought out and changed and shit, like when Mark Echo had Complex, it was live. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like, that type of thing would have been, salute to everybody joining in. Big up. That type of thing would have been, we would have had our own shit. We have our own values. We have hip hop, we have our own rules, our own standards. So you can come play with us, but you need to know our rules first. Don't like, if you don't know our rules, then you sit over there, and then you learn our rules, and then you can come join in. Yeah, it's all in together now. Let's go. You got to learn the rules though, and so the corporate, we let corporate in, and they came in and did their corporate shit. You know what I mean? But like, we're playing by their rules now, and so the game's been fucked up for years. As far as
yeah.
So,
and the funny thing is, not to change the subject, but the funny thing is, I wonder because, I mean, I remember the Source, 90, 91, 92, somewhere around there. And it's like, it was still, there was still some graffiti. I mean, there was a graffiti page, and then that stopped, just like, and it was all just, pushing something else. So I wonder if that, I don't know, at this point, we're just assuming, but you're right. Maybe I shouldn't even go that route. But you're right. If it's something that we established, we kept cultural, got morals, rules, and we kept it panel-like, and it gets reviewed through a panel, approved, and I think would be in a very different place.
we need to do our own shit. It's always been about that, and we don't do enough of it in hip hop in any of the four elements, or really, well, I shouldn't say. I mean, we end up just letting the money comes in, and then we end up saying, okay, let's go get that bag, and then before you know it, like the art form's been twisted around, and you got niggas dancing on tables and shit for for label execs and shit to fucking try to get a deal. So, it's ultimately it's us doing our shit and putting our values and our integrity on, using those things to basically run our shit. Like, fuck, that's the thing. So we just need to, like, hip hop needs to get its act together, work together, and we need to do our own shit, and just continue to do our own shit, because they never give a fuck about us until they see that they can make some money off of us. And it's like, oh, dance monkey, jump monkey, sing monkey, fucking make me a picture monkey. You know what I mean? But that's fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, we just gotta do our own shit, put our head to the ground and do our own shit. I don't give a fuck about no Walk of Fame. You gotta pay for that shit. There's like the fuck a Walk of Fame. You pay for the nomination. Like, you get picked, but like, you gotta pay. Like, so ultimately it's, to me, that's what it comes back to.
So again, I mean, shout out Cool DJ Herc. I mean, that's not something to dismiss, right? It is dope. It's going to be interesting to see, how that goes. Am I happy for him? Yeah, of course. Getting recognized by anybody is always something, especially someone like him, right? I don't know if it'd be different if it's like, yo, LL Cool J. It's just like, all right, yeah, of course. But a person like Cool DJ Herc, I mean, being that he never released an album project, this dude is just, it's just quote unquote the godfather of hip hop, and so it's dope. But aside from that, I think it's kind of slap to the face, and it's like, all right, this year's good. Let's kind of throw that bone out there.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all they've ever done was throw us bones, man. You know what I'm saying? That's all they ever. It's the dangling carrot. You know what I mean? Pavlov's dog. Like, that's all they've ever done with our shit. You know what I mean? And we're too dumb to fucking. We. It's like fucking Charlie Brown and fucking what's her name with the football. Like, that's what it is with hip hop operations. We keep falling for it. Like, my spiritual teacher used to say, you have the cheaters and the cheated. You can't cheat somebody who doesn't want to be cheated. Somebody's not going to fall for some stupid ass scheme unless they're looking for that shit already. So we put ourselves in a position to accept that shit, and then again we chase the bag, and then before you know it, our shit's gone. You know what I'm saying? So, like my man said, Eddie F, like, rock and roll fame, when they don't give a fuck about hip hop. That exhibit was there for like a few months when it opened and it was gone. Like, they don't care about hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So, to me, ultimately, I don't, you know, whatever. It's significant, but it's not. You know what I mean? I want to say this before we move on.
Yeah.
And this may ruffle some feathers, but I feel like you were saying, like, you know, getting it back to like values and like just having some order. I feel like if New York took the lead there, the rest of hip hop would fall in line, if that makes sense. I know other areas. I just feel like if the mecca of this shit got it together and didn't want to sound like Alabama and fucking South and Bloods and Crips, no fucking Bloods and Crips in New York, fake ass. The Bloods and Crips in LA do not give a. Think the Bloods and Crips in New York are fucking cornballs. Like, so I feel like if New York took the lead, I'm not saying no other place could do it, but I feel like if New York took the lead and stepped up to the plate on all levels, all fronts, I feel like everybody else would be like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, I feel that too. The problem, and again, we're getting. I like it because again, my topics were very short, so we can keep talking about it. But I feel you're right. But here's the problem with that, right? There's a lot of so and so. How can I say this? You have to establish a foundation, right? And then you got OGs, you got pioneers, right? And obviously you have, I mean, I'm going to throw out some names, right? So you'll probably have like a Herc, a Flash, a Theodore, for the music side, the sound of it. Fortunately or unfortunately, you'd probably have on more on the popular side, you probably have like a Legs, Crazy Legs, kind of talking for the B-boys, which depending on kind of what side of history you're looking at it, you might kind of be like, well, wait a minute, that might be wrong. KRS-One I know would probably be in it because he's out there, whether he's pushing right information, wrong information, or just other information, he's going to be out there. But how would that be dictated, right? And I don't want to dive too much into it because we got other topics, but how would that be dictated? Okay, we understand it's, we start with the Mecca. We start with the foundation, where it started. Boom, that's strong enough there. Who is holding the front down?
I got a fun topic for next show, or whenever we have a show where we, whatever, is we basically, you and I and everyone in the show, we come up with a like a hip hop government. Like we just come up with a fiction, we come up with a prime minister, like, and I think each element's represented, right? Represented, and we come up with a, yeah, I saw that.
I knew it, and I said it because I saw you in here.
Pluto said, what up?
So, yeah, but
we come up with
I like that topic. We come up with a council, yeah, and all that.
We come up with it, you know, just have some fun with it. And we come up with that shit, and just, you know what I'm saying? So, how about that?
Yeah, that'd be dope. Let's do that next time. But let's move forward because we got a lot of shit to talk about.
Yeah. So
again, salute KOOL DJ Herc. There's no ill-intended, you know, information and vibes. It's just, to me, it was kind of like so-called 50-year hip hop. You're acknowledging him now, like, all right.
All right. So I'm about to do this comment. So my thing is here. Is it feasible for DJs to make a living? And I had a man Selector on last week, and he's a DJ here in Pittsburgh. And hold on, I'm sorry. Pin this.
I'll pin it.
All right.
So your topic is, can a DJ make a living?
Is it feasible for a living? I said, do you recommend if somebody go into this to try to make paper? And he said it depends on your market. He said like if you're, it depends on what you're doing. Like he said, so for instance, in a spot like Pittsburgh, bar owners and shit don't want to pay shit. Like, you know what I mean? You have to do some other shit. So like it depends on what you also said, he said you have to be willing to expand your shit. Like parties or this or different things. And it may like if you're just a turntablist, I don't know. Like, so I was just wanting to put that out there because what he said for some people it's really easy because obviously you can be called a DJ now in 2023 without knowing how to jockey discs, which is what that means, right? Jockeying discs. So playing music. So you can do that now in 2023, right? And make paper. Like there's people that are world famous DJs right now that do not know how to spin any fucking records at all. Couldn't do that shit to save their lives. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, I'm gonna go backwards. So let's acknowledge this whole DJ being a DJ, right? Because anybody, especially with technology, which is another topic, but with technology nowadays, you don't necessarily have to come from that era to know, you merge this with that. It's just you can fucking do it on your phone these days. I'll be honest, and no disrespect if they're watching. I was at an event once and the music was dope, right? You can tell, it wasn't mixed incredibly well, but the music was dope. I look over and it's a phone plugged into the speakers. Now, I'm not dissing the fact that that's happening, right? If you're short for cash, I get it. But I'm trying to put it into perspective. Anybody can come out and say, yo, DJ so-and-so is spinning or is playing, and you can get money that route. That said, the soul, the back and forth of reading the crowd is completely different. Yeah, you can blend this song with that song and it sounds great. You might not even know the song transitions, but are you keeping the crowd happy? Are you reading the crowd? Are you even that to the point where are you certain eras, you can't just say, hey, I'm going to play a 2007 track and then go back to like some James Brown shit. Now, going back to your original topic, someone said it. I don't think you can make a living without compromising what you believe in, right? And I know several people that have done it that just say, you know what, I gotta feed the family, and they go that route, and it's fine, right? You gotta feed the family, and it is what it is. But it's hard to juggle both, right? And like I said, I know several people, whether it's DJing, whether it's like, yo, this is a hip hop page, and there's a page called For Hip Hop, and you'll understand how I'm going to connect this. So For Hip Hop will have a lot of just Lil Wayne stuff and Drake. Sometimes, well, I don't know about Drake, but like Lil Wayne and stuff like that. And then I turn around and scroll, and it's like all of a sudden there's like some Master Ace or like some real boom bap shit. And it's like, all right, cool. So I know whoever runs that page is well aware of where it came from, where it's been, and where it unfortunately went. My point of view. But can you make an actual living with inflation, with the way things are right now? You're probably struggling if you are saying like, yo, I'm a hip hop DJ. I play bricks. Because one, you're not in high demand. Two, if you are hired, like you said, that venue, that promoter ain't paying you shit, and it's trying to pay you shit. So it's not like, yo, your set is going to be the whole night. You're coming in increments of like 5 to 7 minutes to play 2 or 3 songs, and then you play the back end.
I don't know any DJs, excuse me, that are, how can I say this? DJs I know either fall in 2 categories, except for one, and he's world famous. So they either play shit they don't like in addition to all their other stuff, but they play like they'll have a residency somewhere playing some bullshit. I mean, every DJ I know, that's dope, hip hop, whatever. So that's one category. Or they don't compromise and they work other jobs, and you know what I'm saying, and that's what it is. Except for the world famous ones that were like got famous in the '90s and shit, and are still playing like Ibiza and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, like B-Rose said, my man, you know, not without really compromising your standards. So I'd agree there. So.
The other thing I want to mention too is like, you know, again, when we say DJ these days, and I bring up these styles because I mentioned it earlier. Him and Napoleon the Legend are releasing an album this Friday. I believe it's called Invincible Rap Missiles this Friday. So cop it when it comes down, cassette, vinyl. But okay, so you're a DJ and you also do your beats, right? You're a producer. So the avenues you choose to create for yourself with amongst being a DJ can also, you know, bring you some money. But again, you're killing yourself trying to make ends meet, right? You do productions. Now you're working with an artist. You do parties, events, you showcases. Now all of a sudden, you're damn you're 24/7, right? But you don't see your kids. You don't see your family. So that balance.
Here we go. Next joint. Pin it.
All right. So you and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, right? Where
talking to Bboy now.
Yeah, talking about b-boying. So when I say rocking, right? So rocking, b-boying, whatever. Breaking, break dancing, if you guys want to fucking go that route. Nonetheless, so you know, Jamal and I are working on a documentary, and he was discussing the dance styles and, you know, people learning from other dancers, right? OG dancers, and then the younger dancers learning from them. And it came to my mind, right? So it's like with YouTube, with, you know, after school programs, with, you know, community programs or whatever that are teaching you how to do said move, right? So if you're breaking, if you're b-boying, all right, so, you know, you kind of, all right, here's how you do the top rock, but let's work the core, right? So you'll do the floor, you'll do a windmill, right, in 1990. But what is not being taught, and I don't know if it can be taught, is the soul of dancing, the way a particular song and within the song, the break of the song makes you react. In turn, you illustrate that through your movement in dancing. So it's easy to say, hey, you mentioned, and you can stop me if you want me to go this route, but you mentioned a battle where, you know, people were like, yo, said person won because he was doing this and that. And yes, it's great power moves. You know, the naked eye, or not the naked eye, the trained eye will know who was on beat and who kind of was influenced by the sound. The surface fan or the surface person is going to be like, well, this dude was more acrobatic. I didn't even notice he wasn't on beat, so I pick him. Now, rocking to the music, rocking to the sound, I have seen a lot, and I do mean a lot of b-boys, breakers, just going through the motions of these moves and don't really embrace the sound that's coming out of the DJ speakers.
Of course. See that all the time. It's an epidemic, and it's gotten worse because judges encourage it. Fans, excuse me, fans encourage it. So, bottom line is that b-boying is a dance. We're talking about b-boying, right? Rocking, breaking. It's a dance, and if you're not on beat, you're not doing it right. Straight up. And because that goes with any dance, house, freestyle shit, jazz, tap, all of it. That on beat. That's it's not enough to know the moves. It's not enough to fucking be the flying Walendas jumping like motherfucking monkeys doing all types of shit. I told you I've seen like house battles, right? Where like one dude was doing like some crazy like just floor shit and flipping around and stuff like that, and the OG was busting his ass, just staying up top with like
I love it.
clean footwork up top, destroying this nigga like effortlessly, gliding around like this on beat, killing it and having a good time at that. So, at the end of the day, man, if you're not on beat, then you got to get your shit together, straight up, because you're not dancing, and so. But what's fueled that is that the YouTube and shit. Like this kid came from Honduras. He came on an event. He was going to school here, so he was rocking with us, and but he learned on YouTube in Honduras. So when he was cypher with us, like everything he did was just like power, crazy. Just we like, yo, you gotta warm it up, something, man. You gotta like understand what's like this. There's an ebb and a flow to this whole shit, and it's not you don't just go in doing no wild, no helicopter shit just because you can, like, you know what I'm saying? So now what's happened? You've pulled out all your crazy shit. What if you battling? And now you pulled out all your crazy shit. Your man is hanging with you. You pulled out your crazy shit, and what you got now? Nothing. Because you've done it already. You gassed out. You bust your nut already. So, you gotta rock to the music, man. I mean, back to the original point. You gotta rock to the music. I mean, that's just it's when somebody's hitting shit to the music. It's better than when somebody's doing some wild shit and it's not on beat, straight up.
Yeah,
and real.
it's
and
knowing. I
real,
mean, there's so much. And again, I'm not a b-boy. I did a little bit of the popping, tried the b-boy shit. I already told you, tried a head spin. My fucking head went one way, my body went the other, and I stopped. But I understand, right? I grew up with b-boys, and I understand. I mean, it's the music, it's knowing the music first and foremost. Because again, we talked about it yesterday. You can be in your room, in your garage, in your basement, whatever it is, and practice whatever move 4 hours straight. But if you get called out on a specific song and that move isn't really going with that song and you bust it out anyways, we are going to be able to tell. Again, when it comes to outsiders, I'm going to call them that. Outsiders that are kind of like surface, they're probably going to be like, yo, that's great. But those that know, they'll be like, yo, there's no soul in that. And let's acknowledge this too. Rocking, b-boying, for starters, is an attitude, right? Your freezes, it's an attitude. So it's not just, I'm going to come in and, all right, you kind of do the circle, you kind of flash, whatever, and, you go around up to the other crew. Nah, what's that? I want to see, it's Martha Cooper's a picture of Ken Swift when he's just hat backwards and he's just me mugging like that. That's an attitude. So it's missing. It sucks that it's missing. And me personally, I think, no disrespect to any of the brands, but I think these big competitions are a little to blame for sucking that out of rocking or b-boy.
Yeah, I agree with you to that. There's that corporate aspect that's always gonna play its role, right? You know what I mean? Like, because if someone grabs you for a commercial or something, they're not gonna want to see you up rock. They're gonna want to see you do the windmill shit, right, or whatever, the crazy shit. So,
or they'll tell you just do your thing, and you'll be up rocking, blah, blah. You might be doing 4 minutes of shit. Commercial comes out, you're there for 5 seconds, just doing that power move and done.
Right. That's true too.
Word.
That's true. So, my B-boy topic, I'm posting it right now.
Peace, y'all. Appreciate you guys. Again, every Wednesday, first Wednesday, we talk the elements. Today's the DJ and the B-boy. Next month would be, the MC and graffiti bombers, writers, whatever it is. Next week, we have, what the fuck we have next week?
I don't know.
Our classic joint. Back to basics.
Yeah, that's what it's called? Yeah, back to basics. No, that's not called back to basics, is it?
Basics, yeah.
We high.
Let's go. Let's talk about this.
So, I've often wondered, and it was one of the reasons why I really appreciated the freestyle brand when breaking, when Buddha Stretch and these cats started doing the freestyle shit, all the stuff you see in the videos in the late 80s, early 90s, Mob Top, Elite Force, Misfits, Big Up Rubber Band, all those cats, Brooklyn cats, famous video Wreck and Shop, which was in 92, I believe.
Yeah.
So, the style of dancing shifted. The cats were still breaking, but we saw what became prominent in the videos and stuff like that. And based on where I was, that's what cats were doing, and that's what I gravitated towards. But I always liked it because I thought it was creative. I felt like I could have my own steez. And I always, even though I came into this as a B-boy and I love it, and I respect it still, I don't, break anymore. But I've always wondered if there was a ceiling for creativity. So it's funny because I'm thinking about I'm like, no, because I'm seeing videos on YouTube and people are doing crazy shit. But then I'm seeing at the same time, there's certain things. I mean, you can add some flavor to your up rock and add some flavor to your top rock or whatever, but some stuff is just I don't know. I guess I'm answering my own question. The real B-boys are not the real B-boys. The dopest B-boys are the ones can take the basic shit and make it look crazy. I guess I'll say that because I've seen some B-boys. When I watch Why Not up top, just go in, you know what I mean? I'm like, damn, he don't even know how to touch the floor. I'm like, it's nasty, So, what do you think about that, though? I mean, I struggle with it because part of me is with certain moves, I'm like, oh, that's the move and that's it. It's not going to change. And then with other shit, I'm like, man, I'm seeing so much stuff that the people are doing. You know what I mean? So, and I guess, I've always thought there were certain things that weren't people. At least when I was around, people were saying, "Oh, that's not breaking" or whatever. Again, we talked about when we talked about my man Tony Bone, Step Fiends, and when Step Fiends came out, and they were putting house elements and shit, and they were catching heat for putting house elements into the shit, and catching heat from the house heads for putting, so, I don't know.
I mean, if you recall, I kind of had a similar question, maybe this was months ago, where it's have we hit a limit? No, something about creativity, but something to that effect. And I kind of, depending on the type of day that I'm having and what I'm thinking about, sometimes I'll say yes, because again, no disrespect, but I've seen a windmill. I've seen a head spin. So, there's foundation moves, right, that every B-boy is going to attempt. But I'm kind of with Pluto. Pluto just confirmed. I've kind of dove into it really deep, and I'm like, okay, I take it this way. A good B-boy will know how to do those particular moves, right? Again, all the moves that a B-boy knows, but it's how they execute it, when they execute it, And the attitude and then the transitioning, you know, because back then, right, transitioning from one move to another, put it this way, something is impossible until someone makes it possible. Then everybody knows how to do it.
Mm.
So in terms of creativity, I feel you would have asked me a couple of years ago, I'd have been like, yeah, I mean, I probably would have said this. The only thing that we haven't hit a cap on would be the top rock or the up rock, right? Because you could do all sorts of different shit. And when it comes to the B-boy moves, you'd be like, all right, I did this, I did that, and you run out of moves. But now, you know, after a couple of years of just kind of watching shit on TV, on YouTube, seeing a couple B-boys, it's like, I think all those things that I listed, right? Your transitions, your attitude, the what moves you do on a certain song or certain tempo, I think is pushing the limits. So it's kind of like one of those things where like, here's the limit. The B-boys are just kind of pushing it away, still trying to rap for it. So I don't know. It's a good question.
I'll say this before we move on, is that the bottom line for me is that I want to see like your individuals. I want to see your heart in your dance. So if you're in a, I want to see you. Like, so I want to, if you rocking, if you're a B-boy and you're going in, I want to see what you got, like what shit you came up with. Like, how did you flip it and freak it? And so I guess the bottom line for me is individuality, creativity, just like keep it funky. Like just try not to be like the next motherfucker. Like, all right, learn that move, but then put your spin on it, man, and freak it. Like, because there's so many ways to freak shit. So I think that's what I want to see. I don't want to see cookie cutter, you know, motherfuckers out here. I want to see people like freaking it their own way. Like when you watch like dopest crews to me are like when I see cats, let's say there's 6 motherfuckers in a crew. And each dude that goes in is different. They're doing, you know, a lot of the fundamental shit, foundational shit, but they're different. They got their own style.
They freak it their own individual style. Yeah, absolutely.
Their own way. So
yeah, because you get that, right? I mean, I've been there where it's like, you know, we'd be practicing to battle somebody, and then finally the battle comes, and it's like, well, now I figured out like the dude, my crew member kind of like, oh yeah, you kind of doing the same thing. Vice versa with other crews, like, yeah, your boy just did that, and that's part of the clowning. So yeah, when you come correct, when you come individual, yeah, individuality is something. It's another criteria I would put in there.
It's like the kung fu joints, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like they got the crew and everybody. Like one dude is a master with the bow, the long joint. One dude's a master with the sword. One dude's got 2 swords. Somebody's got the fucking chain shit. Like, you know what I mean? So like that's what I'm talking about.
And I mean, really, is with all the elements, right? I mean, when you say, you know, you got your fundamentals, right? When it comes to grab, right? Your bubble letters and your mechanical shit, but it's how you freak it, the hand styles, the flares, and you know, everybody's gonna, at least out here, gonna try to hit the heavens, the freeway signs. Everybody does that. It's the way you freak it your own individual way.
Pin my joint.
Where are you at? Oh, there it is. All right. So we're back to the DJ. So DMCs, right? I believe the first year, I might be wrong. I apologize. Rubik's is not in this piece. At least I didn't see him.
He came in late. But what clarify this, share real quick with the DMCs.
So the DMCs is a competition, disc jockey competition that incorporated the quote unquote hip hop DJ. And this is where I might be wrong. I believe it was 1986. And it was the year, I want to say DJ Cheese won.
Cash Money, I believe, is the first. I think it was 87 or 87-ish.
All right, so somewhere around there.
Yeah.
That's not the point, but I kind of like, you know, making sure I give right information. So if I'm wrong, apologize. But nonetheless, so DMCs, again, it's a dance music competition, it's DJ competition, and it said year hip hop was incorporated, the hip hop DJ was incorporated. So it got to the point where some year that's really what it was all about. The hip hop DJ, the scratch DJ, the beat juggling, the X-Men executioners, scratch pickles, scratch hunters, space travelers, everybody. So when it comes to DJing, we just talked about it earlier, right? That I said some of these big events might be ones to blame to sucking the soul, a little bit of soul out of the B-boy, of Rockin. Would you think is introduced? Okay, got it. I know I had somewhere. Anyway, so DJ Cheese introduced 86. Didn't win, but introduced. So is it safe to say maybe somewhere down the line the DMCs might have something to do, maybe not in the beginning, but long term, something to do with kind of like the DJ either sucking some kind of soul out of it or breaking the DJ off further away from the rap music genre? I guess I can say that.
You're saying, did it break it off in the rap?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, because again, okay, so let's put it this way, right? We know, everybody knows. Come 88, 89, I mean, the DJ was still there, but it started getting to the point where, music videos, the DJ was way in the back, if anything. But in terms of having the music being played at a concert, DJ wasn't there, right? With the exception of maybe like a DJ Premier. But the DJ wasn't a big thing as it was in the beginning, especially not early 70s.
Yeah.
So
I'd say that it had a part to do with it. I mean, only because the DJs needed to do their own shit. I mean, they said, let's go, let's support our own and do our own shit. And it helped make it kind of a really niche type thing, right? But at the same time, rap music became hip hop. Rap music is hip hop to the average person. So rap music blew up, and the rap artists and their persona and what they were doing blew up. And I think it was more that than the DMCs. Personally, I don't think the DMC. I think it was rap music became such a big thing, man, that like you and I have to consciously make sure that we don't just discuss that, right? Like, because it's such a big thing. So I think that's more the thing than the DMCs. I mean, I think the DMCs were dope in terms of DJs doing their own shit and doing their own thing, but you know what I'm saying? At the same time, like if I'm practicing for the DMCs, I'm probably not like working on an album with somebody. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a fan of the DMCs. I mean, I've said it before. I mean, there was a point in time where all I would listen to is DJ mixtapes, is Rock Radar fucking going off, Mixmaster Mike, Shortcut, Chemist. I mean, even till this day, I still do, right? So don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of the DMCs. It's just because we brought up big names, right? So again, the DMCs were already a thing. I'm gonna reference what we talked about earlier, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Even though Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is more on a prestigious note, but it's something that is not ours. It was introduced, right? Hip hop was, quote unquote, was introduced in '86 to the DMCs, and we kind of somewhat took it over for a very long time. So that's kind of what my question is. We kind of stepped in, kind of handled it for a very long time. Was it a good, a bad thing? Again, Pluto said it, and I'm with you. Yeah, DJs have to make their own lane. Shout out again to Bomb Hip Hop, right? The first all DJ album, and again, they had to create their own lane. So it did set up a whole DJ culture, a turntablism culture. But I just wanted to make that point, right? Where it's like, do we think that might have been, something gets good and then it kind of goes this Now, in terms of DMCs battling as opposed to an exhibition where you're hired to just play music, or like, again, going back to the old bomb hip hop days, does it take from the art form? But we got to look at it three different ways. There's the party DJ, there's the scratch DJ, then there's the tricks upside down fucking scratch with your ass type of DJ, right? Like you said, certain people can only listen to that for so long. So there's DJ. When it comes to DJ, it just branches out into all sorts.
Yep. Absolutely. It's time to go. I
just saw the time, brother. Hey, yo, okay, so I'm gonna take this time out, right? So we gotta go. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everybody coming on. And this has nothing to do with it being the quote unquote 50th year of hip hop, but it's just like, I hope one day, it can get to the point where the elements are represented and at least cared for, in just at least a minuscule portion of the way myself, Tamal, Pluto, Rubik's, Herc, anybody else look at these elements, because really they're the foundation. So I'm hoping, these discussions and other discussions and everything else that everybody else is doing, hip hop heads are doing, can really flourish, and hopefully we can have these civil conversations, because like we said before, I miss those days, brother, when we can just sit down and have a conversation. Oh, you don't like this, or you think this, and not end up in conflict.
People are fucking ridiculous now. Can I share something before we go? Can I plug something?
Please do.
It's so crazy. It's so funny how this is lined up that we're talking about the DJ. So on our show, the Care and the Culture show, we got, within the next 4 weeks, we got 3 DJs on. So we got,
okay.
Yeah. So we got Rob Swift, Executioners, a couple, I think next week, I believe.
Right.
We got Mr. Sinister coming up, Executioners doing a live set for about 15 minutes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wait, you haven't had Sinister, have you?
I had him on. We talked, but he's never did his thing.
Okay.
So he's gonna come on. He's gonna do his thing for about 15 minutes, and then we'll chop it up for about 15 minutes after that. So then we got Vex, Boogie Monsters, fucking yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope.
Yeah.
All right. So you got a good lineup.
And then we got the DJ's name's Cut Nice. I'm not sure where he's from, but he's dope. I seen him online. He like be cutting up like old 45s. He's just crazy with it. Like, and he's dope. He's just dope. So we're gonna have him on. So 3 DJs.
So again, right? The main goal for us is, yes, we talk about rap music, right? I mean, I said it before, right? D Styles, Napoleon the Legend is going to come out with an album, and that's what we look forward to, right? Obviously, but we make a conscious effort to ensure that these elements are preserved, talked about, correctly.
There it is.
Yeah, it's right behind you. You know it, right?
1, 2, 3.
So the fact that you're bringing on DJs, it's not just, hey, I got so-and-so, a rapper, which is still dope, don't get me wrong, but that's what needs to happen, right? These DJs, old, and not in terms of age, but just OGs and new cats. Because how can you preserve something with just, shedding light on the old stuff and not the newer stuff that's coming out? So I salute you.
No, it's gonna be good. I mean, just the way it happened, but I'm excited about it. You know what I'm saying? Because last time we talked with Rob Swift, it was more on some like political stuff.
I remember that.
And so this one is more on DJ shit. So, and Sinister's deadly with it. So yeah. What you got going on real quick before we go?
So just a heads up, right? Again, every Wednesday we come live. It's on a real relaxed. So this is therapeutic for me, to be honest with you. So the first week, it's the elements. So today was the DJ and the Bboy. Next month, the first week is going to be the MC and graffiti. The next week we have what we call back to the basics. So we do a few classic joints and we discuss them, right? Their impact in terms of lyricism, the production, and just overall impact in general, right? The third week, we have a guest, and I'm still confirming who we're going to get, and it's going to be something other than an MC. Again, the goal is to preserve these elements. The last week we do is the Under the Radar.
The radar.
Yeah, and it's probably one of my with the classic joints too. I think it's probably the funnest, right? Because we just sit back, fuck around, get the music going. And again, we understand, right? It's the elements, it's part of the elements, and we showcase new stuff, old stuff. But every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. I still haven't done it, but I need to. I got the shirts. So Save the Hip Hop Culture. In the back, you can't see it, but I'll post it. So it's a silhouette of a B-boy. And the top just says, Be All You Can B-boy, kind of like the Army shit. But it says, Be All You Can B-boy. So I have a limited run, about 12. Just kind of testing waters. Hopefully by maybe 2 weeks, I'll put those out, and I'll send you one. But yeah, that's coming up pretty short.
Dope. So yeah, next week we got the 5 classic joints. So back to basics. So that'll be fun.
Get those up, and yeah, YouTube is coming along. Guys, check it out. I'm a little backed up, but I'm uploading as I can. Hopefully, it gets to the point where 2 days after we get off this joint, it goes right on there.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for rocking out. Regulars, new heads, Pluto, everybody, man, Eddie F, old heads, fucking, you know what I'm saying? Big up all y'all stopping through. It's always so
yeah, I appreciate everybody. Pluto, what up, brother?